Yo, Field Afrikan Radio.
Peace and power, family. What's going on?
Black Power.
Man.
Black Power. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, cool. This is Shakem Amenhotep Akhet. Man, I know y'all actually left the subject, and I was just still holding on the line when you were talking about the system.
No, go ahead, fella.
Okay. Well, I just want to revisit something that the individual stated who said he studied criminal justice and things of that nature. First and foremost, the biggest misconception that we have, especially in the federal system, is that a good lawyer is going to get you off or they can somehow get your time reduced. Hey, the reason why that's such a fallacy is because when you actually get your PSI or your pre-sentence investigation, the United States probation officer already has your base offense level and any enhancements already calculated. So when you get that paper, you already know the guideline and what you're going to get.
Right.
Now, the only way that you are going to really go down is through a downward departure through substantial assistance through the government.
Exactly.
AKA snitching. You get a downward departure.
Right.
So what happens is, these people, you get this, and I worked in the law library for like 8 years. So what happens is you get these brothers who go out and get these extravagant lawyers, and then they end up blowing their money, and then you still can't go below the mandatory minimum. So whatever it is that you want to plea out to, if you do say, hey, well, I'm going to just take a plea, the mandatory minimum is there. So that's set in place to where your lawyer can't get you below that unless there's some sort of downward departure involved. And then you end up blowing your money. And then you have these dudes who come around and they snitching, and they're the ones who getting these low sentences below the mandatory minimum. Right. Now, there's some things that, we need to really watch out for. And the first thing that I always tell brothers to watch out for is relevant conduct, which is the 1B1.3 statute. Because the 1B1.13 statute, it basically states that all acts in furtherance of the conspiracy by co-conspirators, you are actually responsible for that, and it enhances your base offense level. So what happens is these brothers that go into court, you might have only sold in the conspiracy an ounce of crack, but yet it's still your partner who you with, he might have had an informant write a statement on him, and he said, okay, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, I bought an ounce of crack from such and such and such. And what the prosecutor does, they have the ghost dope. So what they do is they sit there and they add up all that crack that this brother said that you sold him.
Exactly.
Then what they do is they put it on all of y'all, and then they enhance your base offense level, and boom, you gone.
Right.
So now
powerful science.
Exactly. So what people are understanding is that, the way how these conspiracy laws are written, the devious, the devilish, and, we got to do something in order to keep our brothers from out of it, because when you get in the grips of that conspiracy law, anything goes.
It's a spider web, man. The more you wiggle, the more you get tangled in it. It's a spider web. Do you follow what the brother is saying, Brother Thero, about how that time works?
Yeah, I definitely hear it. I'm learning something today, man.
Yeah. If you're a low man, like you said, and you just got caught after you sold a couple of ounces on the street, but they wrapped up a whole conspiracy, and the whole conspiracy is 300 keys. Then, regardless of whether you sold those ounces, if you're a part of that conspiracy, you're getting charged for 300 keys. And so now you're looking at life sentence, and you wondering, like, man, how you life sentence when I just sold a couple of ounces? Because they ensnare you in that conspiracy, and you're a part of that conspiracy. So that's some real good information, brother.
Yes, and man, and I've seen 20, 30-man indictments where individuals don't even know each other. They're like, man, I don't even. You get a whole bunch of paperwork when you request, your motion of discovery. When you get your paperwork, they give you all this paperwork, and you're seeing all these names and these people. You're like, man, who the hell is this? And the statements, and the one thing that's so crazy about the federal government is, when I was in there, in the law library, a group of us, we were trying to attack what they call it's supposed to be double jeopardy, right? You know, because you could be in the state court, or you could get sentenced for a charge in state, and then nonetheless, what happens is while you're in state doing your time, the Fed come pick you up and throw you in a conspiracy. And the same charge that you were sentenced from in the state, you're actually being thrown into the federal conspiracy after you already were sentenced. Then what makes it so tricky and so devilish is the fact that after you finish, you have then, just say you go to federal court and get sentenced, what happens is the Fed and the state don't run concurrent unless stated by a judge. The judge has jurisdiction to do it, but nonetheless, if you don't cooperate with the government, the judge is not going to run that sentence concurrent. So now we had a group of brothers that got together and said, you know, this is double jeopardy. How is it that I'm serving state time for a charge and then the Fed come and pick the same charge up and sentence me again? But they have something that's called dual jurisdiction. So now the federal government says, well, you know, we have dual jurisdiction. We not only can have jurisdiction over a state case, but then we can have it over a federal case. So now what they do is instead of you saying, hey, that's double jeopardy in violation of the constitutional law, they say, sorry, we have dual sovereignty, a dual jurisdiction.
Loophole.
Absolutely.
Yes. Man, when you get in that spot, when you get in that spot where I'm talking about, I mean, I used to sit down with brothers, man, all day, banging in that law library, all day, citing cases from circuit court to circuit court, and I'm telling you, all they do is concoct it to get around, and you stuck.
You know what this discussion is doing? It's smashing the whole Moorish thing. Because, you know, they deal with laws. And nationality, and it's like, man, white folks don't give a damn about that, man.
Not a damn, man. I listen to these dudes, man, and they're talking about all of this and straw man and this and that, man. You don't know that stuff, man. Them
white folks don't give a fuck.
They make the rules as they go, and they interpret them as they go, and they do at whatever they need, however they need to interpret it. That's how they're going to do it to get your ass.
Correct. And, you know, I bought into it for several years because it gave me a false sense of hope. So, you know, I used to sit down with them in the law library and, you know, the brothers, we order like the redemption manuals. We get in there and we read them and, you know, you order them for $100 and, you know, they update it ever so often, you know, edition 6, 7, 8. So you get all these redemption manuals where, you know, you're supposed to go and accept this for value and accept that for value and do all this crazy, you know, stuff. And what ended up happening, I used to see brothers going back and getting more time. So, like, after a while, I started waking up, man. I was like, man, hold up, man, because as soon as you start with that foolishness and sending out those that paperwork, what they'll do is they'll charge you for actually flooding the court system with frivolous paperwork. Then they'll take you to the hole. So they take you to the hole, take all your information, take your redemption manual. Exactly. So me, man, before I really got too caught up in it, I kind of like bailed out. I was like, man, y'all dudes crazy. So I kind of like bounced out of it. But, man, a lot of dudes, and it's selling false hope, and it's taking advantage of brothers who feel that that's the only way I can get out of prison. A lot of them snitched on so hard, like that's their only hope, and they hold so dear to it. And anybody who's been in the feds or the state can bear witness to this. You will have a brother who's on it so hard that every day you'll say, hey, man, you know, they always say, man, I might go home tomorrow. Man, I might be going home tomorrow. And every day they'll tell you, man, I might be going home. Man, I got this paperwork, man, because they can't keep me here because they got my straw, man. I might be going home tomorrow. And they'll be so convicted on it and because they have so much time and they just hold that sense of, I might be going home tomorrow.
You're right, brother.
Yeah.
It's a sad situation, but they're so desperate, man. They're looking for hope in any kind of way. But you know, that's how they got us, man. And you know, like this brother, he's spitting more than probably 90% of them so-called high-paid lawyers out there can tell you or will tell you. And they sell you false hope, take your money, like this brother said, and do the same thing that them public pretenders are gonna do for you. And that's
man, do you think a short order cook give a damn about the cow that he flipping when he making a burger?
No,
that's his job, fam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's his job. So why the fuck do we think lawyers and see, the whole point is it goes back to what we were saying, because every conversation goes back to the beginning. We're talking about what this system is designed to do: lock black men up. That's what it's designed to do. So why do you think you're going to find a loophole out of there? Because even if you do get off as a singular person, that doesn't change the system, what it's designed to do, and that's to lock up more black men. So if you gone, there's going to be 100 more to replace you. You know what I'm saying? So you really haven't changed nothing, even if you do, if a single individual do get out of that. But hey, man, we appreciate you calling in, fam. What's your name again?
Shakem Amenhotep Akhet.
All right, fam. We appreciate you, man. You keep calling in,
fam.
Brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
all right,
Black Power information, brother. Appreciate it,
Black Power. Peace.
All right, I'm going to go. We got another. Let's see. I'm going to go to 0759. You on Field Afrikan Radio?
Oh, yeah. This is Kala Genesis. I was just sitting back listening. Dynamite show is my first time listening. I'm a Holip's brother with a Black African Infrastructure Organization. You know, I'm just sitting back listening. And like I said, I would say Dynamite, what the brother just said a minute ago was absolutely true. One person getting off the system does not do anything for the system. And I tell you the truth, I honestly, I was listening, and I was actually really touched, you know, because I'm glad I listened to the show, because I guess, you know, sometimes, you know, you get so frustrated, your heart gets a little bit hardened, you know what I'm saying? But I just felt something in here with that brother was saying when he did time, and he was talking about the hopelessness those brothers feel. And, you know, it just said to me that, okay, you know, we know what we want. We know we're frustrated. We know we don't have the team. That's why I'm such a nationalist. I believe nationhood is the only way that can give everybody from the bottom of our community to the top opportunity.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so we have to be real compassionate. So it goes to show me, this is another talking point for us, those of us who live in a nation state. What are you going to do with those brothers who's in jail, and when he comes out, he has nothing to look forward to, when it's so hard for the rest of us to get along out here? So what are you going to send him to? You would be opposed to something or someplace else where he can get a new start, a new life, and build himself over, rise to the top as high as he can, and everything, infinite possibility? You would be that selfish to be opposed to it because you're comfortable in your little middle-class existence and sipping latte and having drinks with your white folks on the weekend and everything? You don't want to be embarrassed? You want to forget slavery? You want to forget Africa? You know, the hell with those type of Negroes. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us nationals to really put it out there and say, look, this is what we want. We want a nation of our own, and we're going to get it no matter what it takes. You know, we're going to get that because there's no future. You know, because the next generation is going to hold us accountable for what we're doing now. If we can't even come to an agreement saying, yes, we want a nation, you know what I'm saying, then the next generation don't even have nothing to build upon. At least they're going to have something to build upon. What we start now, they're going to have something to build upon. You know, we're going to do better when our last generation did for us. They left us with nothing, you know, but more begging and more depending on the white man, you know. So that's all I want to say.
No, that's powerful, brother.
Man, we appreciate you.
What this brother
hold on.
I just want to point
This is
out.
Kala Genesis, the voice of the Kalanation radio show. Check me out on Blog Talk Radio.
All right, Black Power, fam. We appreciate you.
Black Power. Appreciate you too.
Black Power.
All right, go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying what that brother said just at the end was real profound and powerful, because that's how we got to start thinking. We got to start thinking strategically. And see, those of us who are conscious now and talking about building, which he's absolutely correct, we got to think like, okay, we may not be here, and we probably won't be here for the manifestation of what we want to happen, but we got to think strategically long term. Okay, let's get it started now. So we put in the work, we start building, and those who don't want to come, stay your ass here, you know. And those who are down with the plan and understand the mission and the goals, let's go do it and get the work started for those generations to come, you know.
Like, you know, to use my man Holip's, you know, analogy, it's the whole Israel thing. They have their own nation, separate nation outside of Europe, United States, where they can go to. They don't have to live there. These so-called Jews do not have to go to Israel. but it's there for them.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what black people here need. We need our own separate nation in Africa, that we control the politics, the trade, the infrastructure, everything. It's ours. The white man can't tell us who we can and can't trade with, what we, you know what I mean? How, what time you can walk up the street. You control that.
Right.